Hello and welcome to the video. If you are joining this after the fact, which you probably will be, do go ahead and skip a minute or so. I'm just going to give it around 30 or 45 more seconds before I begin. We'll use the next 30 seconds just to do a bit of preamble. So here we are in the Phenom 300 by Areobask. This is the latest version of xPlane 12 as it stands on the back end of September 2023. It is version 12.06, I believe, with the hotfix. We're on the ground at Doncaster, Sheffield. This is in England. Doncaster and Sheffield are indeed two separate cities, but they do share one airfield known as Doncaster, Sheffield. ICAO Echo Golf Charlie November. What we're going to be doing today is seeing the new night lighting effects. We have lifetime live weather on, but, you know, nights drawing in being what they are. We'll expect to see that, as well as apparently the ATC is much improved in this particular update in xPlane 12. So we're going to see how that appears to be. What would also be really nice is if there's some way that I can view the chat. So I'll tell you what, while I just give it another minute, let's see if I can get a chat window up. Thing is, you can't, the frustrating thing is you can't actually prepare a chat window without actually starting the stream. So you've got to start the stream, then you can sort of set up your chat. There we go. I do have it on now on a smaller screen. And so without any further ado, let's get rid of the music and make a start. And so, for those not familiar with the area, let's quickly go over what we're going to be doing today, or at least what the plan is. Again, there is no flight plan, there's no training. This is all about how the new version of the air traffic control deals with us as VFR traffic. So if we're taking a look here at Navigraph, I'm just going to change it over to, let's just go world map view. This will perhaps give you a good idea. So again, we're flying, as we said, in the UK, which is where I am, and we will be departing from this particular airfield here, right in the middle. Echo Golf Charlie November. There you see Sheffield, Doncaster sharing it. Actually much closer to Doncaster than it is Sheffield. There's also Rotherham in the middle as well. I'm not quite sure if Rotherham's technically a city or a town, but either way, that's where we're departing. And then if we zoom out a bit, we're going roughly in this direction to Norwich. So we may be crossing over the Wash or flying very close to it. This here is the Wash. And Norwich, this spot here, Echo Golf Sierra Hotel. Don't think I've ever been there real life or in the sim, so that will be different for this one. So let's come back with the aircraft and we'll see how we go. So it is a Phenom 300. The reason that I like this is it's nice and quick to get going. You know, that some of you will have seen my first flight with it, and it was actually surprisingly easy to use as a first flight. I'm not going to bother with any sort of setting up a flight plan. Again, it's all to do with the ATC, but of course it flies much faster than a Cessna. So let's see how we do. And so we'll go ahead, get inside the aircraft. In fact, let's have a little look here. Ground. Fuel-wise, we'll just top it off a tiny bit. Oh, left and right tanks independently. Okay, best make sure they more or less... There we go. So right now, let's open the fuel panel. And open... In fact, let's come outside, because I think a huge part of this aircraft is actually the outside. And we'll just go ahead and shut some of these doors. So I put the luggage in the front there. 3 bags in. We can take these off, but you've got to do it using the tablet. All these covers that cover the tubes as well as the engines. On my video, when I first flew it for the first time, I believe I started it up with the covers on and it actually made no difference whatsoever. So it's just an aesthetic thing. It actually didn't have any impact on what went on whatsoever. What does, however, is this little thing here. And in fact, it is going to be easier if I just set the camera to the fuel panel. Otherwise, it's impossible to get the camera down here. And I really like this way of, you know, fueling the aircraft. So we're basically, this here, let me just show you where we are. So if I bring the camera out, that's where we are, by the right wing. And so I really like this aspect of this module. It's unique in insofar as the ones that I have, and I have around 15 xPlane modules in total. So yeah. So we'll turn the battery on, and that overrides any setting in the cockpit. You've been with me, you know, it's a cold and dark setup. And it lets us see this, which I think is really cool. And then what we'll do from here is go... increase. And I think this is where you can basically preset how much fuel you want. So we'll go for £2,600 for no other reason than lamp test. I'm not seeing any lamps there. Okay, so let's get the refuel. Oh, I know why. I know what's the problem. We need to open it. There we go. That's basically unscrewing the lid and shoving the fuel. And there we go, look at it, it's refilling. Now we only wanted a little bit because it already come with several pounds. I'm not sure why there's that £5 discrepancy. I noticed that last time I did this. So we'll close the safeties and that turns the stuff off and we'll shut that. We'll back away. Get rid of the map view. Close the cover there. Great. Let's have a little look then elsewhere. I think there's actually one more. We've got the main luggage bit at the front, but I think there's another. Yeah, there is. There's another luggage compartment there. And then shocks, the engine covers, and the door. I think that's it. So let's get inside. And the only way I think to get rid of those is this one here, static elements. That's the covers and for the engines and whatnot. All right, so that's done. We'll close the door ourselves. And what I do like about this aircraft, and again based on real, right, is it doesn't need an APU to start the engines. There's enough battery power to start the engine using the battery. I suspect if something goes wrong, there probably isn't enough battery power to then start it a second time. I don't know that for sure, but I know there's a similar aircraft. Oh, what is it? There's a guy, this business guy in America, and he flies around in it mostly for fun, and he Premier Driver he calls himself. And that is the same. Has no APU but can start off the battery. But he said basically if you have to abort the start or there's some failure during the startup, there isn't then enough battery charge to have another go. So it's if it doesn't work, you need to plug in basically. So I assume this is the same, being the same sort of size aircraft. Right, so everything there looks like it's closed. And so let's make a start. Here we go, the electric panel battery. I think the sounds of this module are second to none. Battery 2. IRAC cycle is valid until the 5th of October, so we're okay there. Press enter to continue, or this soft key. We'll press the right mouse soft key.
System test okay.
Alright, so I guess the self-checks are okay. Let's have a little look then at local information. Echo Golf Charlie November. By the way, the time here is,
TCAS test.
I believe, is Zulu time. So if you're thinking... Actually, no, that's local time there. So yeah, it is actually 10 to 6 here in the UK. I was going to say, if it's Zulu time and then it's an hour behind and you're wondering why, but no. All right. Let's get the airport page on and see if we can find anybody. 134955 for the ATIS. I will use the auto tuning just because it's so much easier when you're single pilot operations, and it's an easy option. I've just got to remember to turn it off when I'm not using it, because otherwise then when you try and use VATSIM and so on, you're wondering why won't my radio tune in. I was looking for the panel here, but it's not there. It is... it could be up here. They're the nav frequencies. Nav one. Here we go. 134995. Let's try it. Can I just... Oh, you can. You can just put the mouse over it and use the mouse wheel. That's handy. All right, let's try it on COM2. 134. .955. Click. Does that activate it? Click the other side. How do we do this? I want the other one, man. COM2. Ah. There we go. Right, 134955 is on receive, apparently. Volume. So used to the radio controls being down here. I'm not hearing anything, and I'm not sure if that's because we don't have the engines running or what, so I am going to put it on the primary channel just to see, just in case. So we'll go once again, 134. And it's not the end of the world if it doesn't work. What is the end of the world is if ATC doesn't work, because of course that was one of the main things that they said in the update. Oh, there we go. So COM2 definitely not working, at least not while we don't have the engines running, it would seem.
QNH1017. Advise on initial contact you have. Information, whiskey.
Right, QNH1017 will make us start there, so we see we're now
Doncaster, Sheffield. Information, whiskey. 1630 Zulu. Arriving runway 20. Departing runway 20. Wind 220 degrees at 10 knots.
I'm looking for it.
More than 10 miles. Sky conditions few at 3,000.
Maybe can I... Oh yeah, you can.
4,600. Overcast at 27,000. Temperature 19. Dew point 9. QNH 1017. Advise on initial contact you have. Information, whiskey.
1017, that's gone in as 3003, so it's translated it, that's nice.
Information, whiskey, 1630 Zulu. Arriving runway 20.
And you can adjust the volume, big fan of that. Not every module lets you do that, you know. Get excited, well, not excited, but
Sky conditions.
That's nice.
At 3,500. Few at 4,600.
Right.
Overcast at 27,000. Temperature 19. Dew point 9. QNH 1017. Advise on initial contact you have. Information, whiskey.
Right, we've got whiskey, so all that I want to do now is... actually, I may want to put it in here as well.
Whiskey,
3003, there we go.
Arriving runway 20. Departing runway 20. Wind 220 degrees at 10 knots.
Right, I'm just going to do detune it. So, arriving and departing runway 20, that's good. That means we're at the right end of the airfield to begin with. So, I'm going to hit up ATC. Now, in real life, you would do it before you start the engines. You know, obviously, you'd have to put battery on so you could speak to them. But you wouldn't start the engines until you had permission. In some airfields, you even need permission to start the APU. It would say that in all the bump. We're not going to get all specific about that today. I just want to do the flight with the ATC. So what I need to do is let me have my controls back. So if I go to, where are we? X-Pilot, I think. So this is to actually play on VATSIM. And yeah, override ATC. So, you know, turn that off for VATSIM. Obviously, we want to use it again. So, nearby frequencies, and here we've got the auto-tune recommended frequency. So all of that's doing is tuning in basically what you're clicking on, as opposed to you having to do it. And because we're single pilot, it's just going to be so fiddly trying to dial it in. If I had a physical Radio Shack on the desk, would I do it? I'd probably just do it for the hell of it then. But yeah, we're going to have enough to do anyway. So let's... So it's got here Doncaster, Sheffield, ATIS. It's showing that we're tuned that in. So let's try... Here we go. Doncaster Tower, 128,775. I'm just curious if that marries up with what we've got here. 128,775. So it is... It does match up, at least on this occasion. So let's... I can't remember. Do we double click? What do we do here? Here we go. Yeah, we just click on it. So Doncaster Tower 128775 is not tuned in. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yes, it is. 128775. I was looking at the nav. So let's go for a radio check and we'll take it from there.
Doncaster Sheffield Tower, November 33 Zulu Foxtrot. Radio check.
November 33 Zulu Foxtrot. Reading 5.
Gotta say, the radio sounds much louder and clearer than it did before the update, so I like that. So we've got a 5x5, so let's see then. Again, no plan, just visual to Norwich. Let's see if we can do this. And I guess it just wants a direction. So from here, from Sheffield to Norwich in the UK is a southeasterly direction, so that's what we'll go with.
Doncaster Sheffield Tower, November 33 Zulu Foxtrot. Phoneme alphabet equals PH equals N bra greater than name bra air less than slash phoneme EMB 505 Phenom 300.
Well, that sounds like a bunch of...
Today. 1 POB. Request taxi 4 VFR.
I don't think it said some of that right, did it? Sounded... Some of what it said there sounded almost foreign. But the rest of it was okay.
Hold short of runway 20.
Runway 20 taxi.
Right, so it's 20 as we'd expect via Delta and Alpha. I just wonder how much can we zoom? Oh, we can zoom right in on the Phenom chart, so that's cool. Although our aircraft's in the middle of the display, but it's kind of hard to see. But yeah, so I guess all that we need to do is turn right taxi here. And this here's our departure. So straight ahead to the right. So let's try then. So there appears to be no request permission to start engines. You're clear to start. It's just taxi to the runway. That's the first instruction we've got. We do have a request pushback though. But he's already given us clearance to taxi, which is... I guess this just ties in with the tug, because look, request pushback left, straight, right. That to me is not the same as actually asking ATC for permission. I think they're just trying to integrate the tug there. So what we'll do is we'll see if we can start, if I can remember how to do it. It wasn't that difficult. Let's go ahead. So engine ignition. We'll start on the right hand side, I guess. We'll go to auto. We'll put the stop switch into the run position. We'll put engine ignition on and start. Sounds good. Get rid of the ATC thing for now. Coming up top then, what lights do we have? Nav lights, we want those on. Panel lights are on. The cabin lights, yeah, guessing back. And emergency lights, arm them. There we go, that's it. Right, engine 2 is up and running, so we best put the generator on. It would have been a good test, actually, if I'd have remembered, maybe another time, to see if there is enough battery power to start engine 1 without putting engine 2 on the bus, but we've done it now. Put the bleed on, cross bleed automatic, and let's go ahead, start engine number 1. We'll set the ignition to auto on 2. So auto, run, on and start. Still weird, if you move the mouse over the middle of the screen it zooms, which I am a fan of, but because normally the mouse wheel, you know, controls the overall zoom, every once in a while it gets a bit finicky. I like that it automatically cuts in the battery display, I guess, just while you suss that out. So we'll go automatic, put the bleed on, and I guess that's now set to go, and this will disappear in a few seconds, I'm guessing. I'm not sure. Alright, engine ignition to automatic on both sides. Let's have a little look at the takeoff stuff here if we can. V speeds. We'll go takeoff flaps 1 if we can. Compute the speeds. V1 103, rotate 103, V2 is 114. I guess flat retraction is 128, I guess. Alright, let's go then. Flaps 1. And it's the speed. Send, there we go. Send the speeds to the primary flight display. I'm just wondering, have they gone through though? We've got 180, we've got what seems to be a couple of random speeds there. Has it gone through? Oh well, I'll tell you what, we'll dial in. Even though it's not got any auto throttle or anything, we'll put V2 in here. 114, there we go. Runway heading is 198 degrees because we're departing runway 20, so 198. There we go. Course as well, just to remind, should we, I guess we can't because there's nothing tuned in. Oh well, never mind, that'll do. 198. Height-wise, again, there was no clearance given. We'll see if ATC gives us one when we get a bit nearer. That's the way we'll do that. So I think with that, we're ready for taxi. So we'll follow the instructions that we've been given. Straight ahead, turn right, and then we're there. So let's see how it works. And again, I'm no expert with this aircraft at all. You know, far from it. You know me and checklists. I hate doing them. And again, this is all about the new lighting effects that apparently in xPlane together with the ATC. We'll see how it goes. Should the worst happen and we need to return, let's just put the approach on for 20. Although, again, should all be well. ILS 1095. And there is an NDB 338. Nav 1, let's see if we can dial it in. 1095, there we go. And I'm sure it has the ability for a... I'll tell you what, where are we? Transponder, let's just turn it on. 7000 code. I always put the, if possible, how many subscribers. We've got 248 subscribers at this moment. Let's see if we... Oh, it's an 8. Can't 4. Well, I always round down, so let's go 0, 2, 4, 7. There we go. So we're squawking that again. This is so different from using the radio panel. PFD, wind. I like to know the winds. Option 3. Well, I guess we can tinker with that should we need. Well, let's go. Back. And again, no flight plan. We're just going for what ATC says. So I've pressed the brakes. And I just realised the hydraulic pumps, that would be a good one. Both sides. Seatbelt signs. I've let go of the part of the brakes. Yeah, so I think here, this little twizzly light that you see out the way, I think that is an example of some of the new lighting effects. I think. Right, let's go for it. Needing a bit more power than I would expect to get going, but it could be that we're just slightly uphill actually. And that, yeah, I think that maybe was it. It looks like we're slightly going downhill now.
3 Zulu Foxtrot. Return to designated taxi route Delta. Runway 20. Taxi via Delta and Alpha. Hold
All right.
runway
Apparently
20.
we're not on Delta. Now I did
Returning
just
to route
assume.
Delta. Runway 20. Taxi via Delta.
Well,
and
actually,
Alpha.
we were at one of
Hold
these
short.
stops.
Runway
There was no other
20.
way. Delta
3 Zulu
appears to be this
Foxtrot.
one at the end. So I guess the only way to get to Delta is where we've just gone. Because, again, Delta's still ahead of us. At least according to what I'm seeing here.
3 Zulu Foxtrot. Return to designated taxi route Delta. Runway 20. Taxi via Delta and Alpha. Hold short of runway 20.
Ah, Delta's the other way. It was behind us.
Runway
Well,
20. Taxi via Delta and Alpha. Hold short of runway 20. 3 Zulu Foxtrot.
well, let's just make our way to Delta and
3
see.
Zulu Foxtrot. Return to designated taxi route Alpha. Runway 20. Taxi via Alpha. Hold short of runway 20.
Roger. Returning to route Alpha. Runway 20. Taxi via Alpha.
So
Hold
we
short
are
of
now on
runway
Alpha.
20.
So
3
this one
Zulu
here was
Foxtrot.
Delta. We're on Alpha. So yeah, if the plane had been turned the other way round, that would have worked nicely. Right, so here we are. So let's just turn left here. And I guess now we're coming out the way that we would want. There's a bit of a nasty dint in the runway there. Not sure what that's about, but alas, here we go. Quick flight controls check. Actually, oh yeah, they are moving. Just the very ends. Let's just see, I did set the wing view. Yeah, so there we go. Oh, it's taken a while for those. Look how long it took the spoilers to come up there. I'm not sure if that's just... that can't be like that once we're in the air. That would just be terrible. Anyways, what options do we have here? Return back to gate, request altimeter, or request weather? Well, neither. So let's try nudging forward to this next stop. And again, for those just joining, I'll just really quickly show. This is the route that we're trying to do. So if you take a look there, that is our destination, Norwich. So we're currently here at Leeds. Sorry, at Sheffield Doncaster. We're here, this area here. And we're just doing visual flight rules over to Norwich. No flight plan whatsoever. Just to see how the ATC works. So there is that. So let's come back into the game.
Runway 20 clear.
So great. We've gotten our first real instruction here. So I'm just going to read that back because I was yapping. So parking brake. There we go. Parking brake set. Let's have a little look. So Squawk 3600. Again, I'm a little surprised they wait until we're getting ready to get on the runway before giving us a squawk code. Usually you'd get it a little before, but whatever, we've got one. So transponder code overrides what I was going to go for, doesn't it? 3600. And we'll turn it on as well. So let's, where are we? It's set for VFR. Fly heading 200, winds 220 at 10 knots, runway 20. Lots of 20s there, clear for takeoff. And again, there's no height. I'm surprised it's not like, you know, you cleared up to 3,000 or whatever, because we didn't say anything. So I'm just going to go for... We'll go for 3,000, and if it says anything else, we'll go it. And if it doesn't, we'll ask to climb after that. So let's go. So runway heading was 198 degrees, which is close enough to 200. So let's put the landing lights on, strobe lights on, and let's go. Oops. Trying to be all cinematic then, almost departed the taxiway. I do like the Phenom's lighting, the light in there on the underneath. I think that's really cool. Oh, it is a small aircraft. We can't get the camera any lower. Pretty cool synthetic displays. You see that a lot in Flight Sim 2020, the synthetics. Not many in xPlane. Alright, let's go for it. Do we have a clock that's easy to press? I'm not seeing it. Let's just go. There we go. Takeoff thrust set. Bye, this is an uneven runway. What on earth has gone on here? Oh my goodness. I'm going to pop the tyres before we even go anywhere. Right, there we go. And you can really tell it's a small plane versus like your 737s or whatever. It's definitely a lot twitchier. Right, wheels in.
3 Zulu Foxtrot. Contact London Control. 118.480.
Contact London Control. 118.480.
And the synthetic display disappears, it would seem, after 1,000 feet. Interesting. Alright, let's check in with London.
3 Zulu Foxtrot.
Let's get the heading on. Flight director. Yeah, it's saying this less than slash whatever. There's something not right still with what they're saying.
1,600. 1 POV. Request traffic service.
Let's put your damper. And let's just get the autopilot on. You see, how quiet is that now?
Squawk 3600.
I can hear my own transmission, but not the other one.
Service. November 3 Zulu Foxtrot.
Right. I'll tell you what, let's go up to 6, because this autopilot is not like many of them. Right. Squawk 1019. Sorry, the altimeter is 1019. I do like that you can click there and then just type it in and it'll translate it. That's a nice addition, that. So now 3009. There we go, 6,000 feet. Let's get a little flyby. Aye, that was a steep climb. Look at it.
3600. 3 Zulu Foxtrot.
High speed, yeah, we'll get rid of the flaps. There's no auto throttle on this one, so we're going to have to... Still got this electric... There we go, now it's gone. Right, so we want to be roughly over this way. Squawk 360, did we not have it on? Transponder... on. There we go. Codes... 3600. Well, that should be that. Right, what can we ask for? Heading to airport. Are we close enough yet? Oh, there were a few. Be nice if we could select. RAF Linton on Ouse. Those of you that are returned will know that's where I learnt to fly in real life. It no longer is operational as an airfield though, so I guess at some point they will take it out. And it's not there yet. Well, we said we want clearance to depart to the southeast. And interesting that when we asked for request heading, it didn't actually give us a heading per se, just which airport you want to go to. I just scroll that. I'm trying to make this a bit bigger, so there we go. That's what I'm trying to do. So all the options are on the screen at once. Yeah, so heading. You'd think request heading would literally be a heading, not request to an airport. But anyway, it was like that before. I am therefore, as soon as we did ask to depart to the southeast, just going to manually put myself in a heading to go, again, in southeasterly direction. So we'll go something like 140. We'll see what that gives. 140. Let's press it. There we go. Put a bit of speed on. It's weird how, you know, I don't know how, if you fly sims or what sims you fly or what aircraft, but I'm so used to, doesn't matter what sim it is, having auto throttle that I just don't think of it. And so when you do have to think about it, like now, to find it running away or dropping off. And I guess in real life, when you sat there, you've got the tactile, you hear the, it's very obvious the airflow on the canopy to let you know what your speed's doing. You don't really get that so much in the sim. You do get the sounds, but they don't give it away in the same way. Well, I guess there was nobody telling us how high or not we could fly. Do you know what I do? Like, let's go into the cabin. I'm not sure if anything here is new. I've only flown this aircraft once before, and that was on the channel when it was new. It was the best one that I didn't have, apparently, by the ratings anyway. Yeah, I guess they can't simulate running water, so they just have a picture of some, but still it's better than nothing. And if we did get a message from ATC, we would hear it. I tell you what though, the clouds in xPlane look a lot better than they did. Even with when version 12 first came out, there was a lot of very weird effects with the clouds in version 12. And I like the way that you can zoom in on them. I mean, that's something you can't do in Flight Sim, you know, fill the whole screen up with the sun should you wish to do so. I know we always talk about the differences between the sims, but that's why I fly all three of them, because they are different. Now this here altitude is not... Well, it's not got anything on there, has it? It could just be that I haven't set up a flight plan, I'm not sure. But you'd think it would say 6,000. Yeah, so this is the airfield we're going. Echo Golf Sierra Hotel, that's at Norwich. And we are well on the way. I do really like that you can just use your mouse wheel to manipulate this device. I think it's the Garmin 1000, but, you know, I'm sure someone will correct me. Certainly, I do prefer the normal controls of an aircraft, you know, where you've got all your radio panels down here. You've got all your lightings and pressurizer, you know, the way that all the airliners are. Boeing or Airbus don't matter. They're all the same in that regard. And I get that Garmin have tried to do everything through these displays. I guess if you're used to it, you'll like it, but what I'm going to try and do is, seeing as we do have a bit of a distance and ATC doesn't seem to be saying anything like as much as I thought it might, let's just put on a bit of speed and we'll climb and we'll see what it looks like. See if we can get up to, let's go for 15,000 and flight level change. There is some sort of throttle sinking, so as you can see there's like cruise, climb, toga and max. And my throttles, you know, I've got 2, right? They don't physically need to be exactly the same. It's like, if they're mostly the same, it's almost as if the aircraft knows, oh, you want them to be together. Although they do look a bit different on the display now, I've gone and said it. It could also be something to do with this here. I'm not sure. I guess this is trim. Mode, BPK off. Again, don't know. This is the speed brake here. It's a little switch rather than a lever. Oh, there we go. Well, I'm going to start trying to tune in because, again, I'm not planning it. But if there is some radio beacon, we'll see if we can get it. So, Echo Golf Sierra Hotel. Let's see what we can get in. I do want the ATC because that was the whole point of this. I thought the ATC would do a bit more. I get it with visual flight rules, but they didn't give us a height. They didn't give us a heading. They didn't really do anything other than clear us for takeoff so far. And it was one of the big improvements, apparently. So here we go, Norwich. Approach. So it looks like we've got an NDB and possibly an ILS as well. 342.5. Where is the NDB? What's the ILS? 1090. I'm sure it does have one. Primary, wind. Yeah, there we've got the winds. I like that you can choose how you want to see that. Tailwind component or just the arrow. We'll leave it like that. But where's my DME? Where's my ability to tune in my ADF? ADF? Ah, these buttons. Well, at least the ADF one doesn't work. The DME one does. The nav 1 and 2. But ADF and auxiliary can't be modelled then. Oh, we're getting fast, so let's power back. Whoa. Autopilot's on. That was a lot of twidgeting. Look at the altimeter here. I'm not sure what caused that to go. All that I did was smoothly go back from climb to cruise. Looks like we need to be left a little bit more. I gotta say, I am a little disappointed in the ATC. Again, I did say, you know, I didn't practice this ahead of time because that would just be pointless. I really would have thought we would be getting handed over, we would be given headings, so on and so forth. So there is the wash. Those of you that are from the UK, of course, be familiar with this piece of water. Those of you not, what we're looking at is, if I zoom out, this piece of water here, this is known as the Wash, which is on the eastern side of England. It's been a nice day today actually here in the UK. Makes a change from 2 or 3 days ago where it was absolutely chucking it down. Yeah, so if I can't even tune in the DME, I guess the NDB, the only way to do this, procedurally at least, would be to use the, I guess you call it the FMC. And you can do that with this here. So I think flight plan or direct to, perhaps direct to would be the best way. Again, I'm not overly familiar with this. It's a bit of guesswork involved. Let's try it. See if we can dial it. Airport. Let's just try if we can put it in as an airport. Oh, it's fiddly as this, man. E G S N. Whoops, come on. There we go. EGSN. Enter. Sorry, EGSH should I say. EG. Come on. Yeah, now why has it gotten rid of my foot? Oh. I tell you what, man. I'm definitely prefer the FMCs or the McDoos. I'm not sure how faithfully this is simulated. It did seem a bit strange that you go to make a correction on one letter and it deletes your entire thing. I'm not sure if that would be like that really, but I don't know. There we go. Right. Enter to accept. So if I press direct to, will that work? Oh, let's try it again. Enter to direct. Right, direct to. Procedure, select approach, I guess. And here we've got the ILS. So ILS 27 is the only one. So let's go for it. Via vectors. And there we see there is now a straight line from where we are directly to the airfields, which again defeats the object of the ATC. Speaking of which, let's see if we can get a heading now towards the airport, because we are closer to it. There we go, 34 miles away. Here we go.
Request heading to Norwich.
3 Zulu Foxtrot. Fly heading 090 for Norwich.
Perfect. So forget the procedures here. We're doing what we're told. 090. That's set. And I want to obviously land there. So let's go for visual landing. We'll see how good it is. We'll just follow the instructions. Come on, why is it? I'm not sure what it's doing there. When I click on it, it sort of comes out of the menu with no rhyme or reason. Well, we'll just continue 090. If we get right on top of the airfield and it doesn't even ask us to descend, obviously we'll take matters into our own hands. But I'd like to get some sort of confirmation. I mean, what is this? Why? You know, I'm a huge fan of xPlane in terms of the realism of the flight models, generally speaking. But This is terrible. Why can't you just give me a... Yeah, okay.
Zulu Foxtrot.
Oh, it's doing it
Request
now.
landing at Norwich.
Why wasn't it doing it a minute ago?
Foxtrot. Turn left.
Right.
Heading 070. Runway 27.
Looks like we're in a bit of turbulence here.
At 6 knots. Variable 2202290.
Turn left, heading 070. Runway 273 Zulu Foxtrot.
Blaze, I like the heading, but I would... You look at this, we're 20-some miles away. We're at 15,000 feet. We should be no more than 10,000 feet at this point. Ideally less. And we're in the soup here. And I guess now that we're above 10, we can turn the lights off.
3 Zulu Foxtrot.
There we go.
Maintain flight level 050.
So there actually
Descend
is
and maintain flight level
some ATC, thank goodness.
3 Zulu Foxtrot.
Right, so power back by, the turbulence is on. So flight level, come on, flight level change just to get it going. 050. Yeah, if you turn the mouse wheel quickly, it skips in thousands, and if you go slowly, it's in hundreds, but it's like, it's very fine between the two.
Flight level 050.
Yeah, we are
Descend and maintain
descending.
flight level 050.
I
3
think.
Zulu
Oh,
Foxtrot.
there we go. We are now. And again, we'll go speed 240. That'll get the descent going. Let's get a flyby in the suit. Yeah, the clouds look loads better than they used to do. They're still not perfect, but they are loads better. Even than just like a month or two ago. There was this weird... When I would zoom in... Well, there's a weird effect on the aircraft there. Did you see it? It's gone now. There was like this weird... I guess as it came out the clouds. Yeah, there used to be these weird sort of zebra stripes in when you zoomed in on the clouds. They seem to have completely gone. That right there is almost a thumbnail. In fact, you know what? I'll take a screenshot of that because I couldn't obviously do a screenshot ahead of time. So we're descending nicely. And again, I'm just going to follow what ATC says, and in theory it should drop us out in front of the runway. That would be nice. Yeah. The last time I flew this, which was around Las Vegas, it was when I did the video on it. This here was working, it did say, so I can only assume this device here is tied in with basically setting up a flight plan. And because we didn't set up a flight plan, it's not done it. This cabinet, as far as I can tell, none of it opens, but the stairs work, the sink works, the blinds work, which is, you know, a lot of modules don't do that, and I get it's kind of a pointless thing, but it's nice to be able to do it. What about the table? Does that... Oh, it does fold out. Fancy, fancy. Oh, we actually get a tablet. And we're on the tablet, so it's not just a fake one. This is just another copy of what we've got up front, which is great. And I'll tell you what, the ATC is giving us vectors for... Again, we asked for a visual approach, but you can see it appears to be trying to copy, or vaguely copy, what the procedure is. So yeah, Norwich just here. I guess 7 or 8 miles to our right. Let's see if we can see it. that'll be it there. Yeah, now that radio is far too quiet. I don't get it.
Maintain flight level 0303 Zulu Foxtrot.
I mean, our guy repeating it back is fine, but... Anyway, 170. I think I've bound that, but... Let me just see. Yes, I have. 170 and down to 3. Come on, keep going. Wow, look at the colour effects on the screen there. That was a bit crazy. Pink and yellow. Oh yeah, I'll put the landing lights on now. I guess we're just dropping out the clouds here. Bit of turbulence there all of a sudden. I don't know what to make of these clouds. It reminds me of... It's like when games, they figure out how to do a new graphics card effect. And to begin with, when it's a brand new effect, they go way over the top with the effect. And then like they tone it down a year or two later. And I kind of get that impression that it's a bit over the top. I mean, look at the state of that cloud. It's bright yellow, for goodness sake. All right, a bit of orange, whatever, but yellow. Come on. I do like the way that the sun... That there looks gorgeous, by the way. How that sun is melting into the clouds, that looks really good. Right. A quick... Approach speed, we'll go for flaps 3 if we can. Automatic thrust reversers. I'm not sure they work. Or at least I haven't bound them. So let's see. The controls here. Speed brakes, open, close. I guess we got to open them when we land. Send the speed. So approach speed, I guess, is 109. And that is for a flaps 3. Does go up to flaps full, but weird that your only choice is between flaps 2 or flaps 3. So I'm not sure. Well, I see 3/F. Maybe that's is either 3 or full. It does have no impact on the speed, I guess. That must be what it means. Let's go flaps 1. Getting a bit slow there. We are at 3,000 feet, which is where ATC asked us to be on 170. And again, we were asking for the visual. Oh, a little bit too slow. I mean, surely we're sort of more or less in line with the... We've shot through it. So, again, I question, what was ATC doing? And again, we would have heard it no matter where we were. It would have popped up. There was no instruction to turn in line. So I'm not sure really what's going on. Again, we are doing what we are told. Man, you really miss a speed hold. An auto throttle with a speed hold. Because this one, it's like you put the throttle a little bit too much, it seems to go faster and faster and faster. And if you're just a little bit too On the other side, it gets slower and slower and slower. You get behind the power curve and it gets worse and worse. So that is not the case during cruise. In cruise, I've noticed this thing is pretty stable, but it seems kind of hard to find a setting. Certainly if your ATC was asking you to fly a speed, you'd really have your hands full with this. It's easier to hold a speed on the descent because you can use your flight level change to do it through pitch, but when you're flying level, that's not the case. Well, come on then, ATC. What are we waiting for? So you see, we've shot right through, and this is a 5 nautical miles zoom, so we're almost 5 nautical miles through, I guess what you'd call the approach. And it was, well, we did request visual 27. Yeah, when they say they've done an awful lot of work on the ATC, I gotta be honest, I'm not seeing it. This is how I found the ATC before the update. Definitely there've been work on the light, and that goes without saying. The clouds look a lot better. Got some right pastel-y colours going on. The reflections we can see here, the windscreen reflections look really good with the lights as I move the camera or my head around. But I'm not blown away by this ATC. I mean, look at this. Oh, here we go at long last.
Turn left, heading 090. Descend and maintain 2,500. 3 Zulu Foxtrot.
Right, there we go. I mean, you know, my story of, you know, back when you used to be able to sit in for landing, you know, in real life, obviously before 2001, I remember when ATC give them instructions like that, so to change a heading and a height at the same time. And that's what they'd do. They'd start turning the heading, and it wouldn't be the right number, but the plane was beginning to turn. They'd then start turning the height, set the plane doing both, so it's turning and climbing or descending, whatever. Then they would go back to the other one and get it correct, and I saw that, which makes sense. But, you know, it's one of those things that I just feel kids are robbed of today. I get it, you've got all the videos that it didn't used to have, so it's not entirely that you don't see, but yeah. I know I say it all the time, but that's a nice... But again, it's one of those when every single night is like that, at some point you think, is it a little exaggerated? Let's get rid of the radio. Screenshot time. And now let's follow the instruction. Turn left 360. I feel this time they're setting us up with a little bit more room than we had, but then that leads me to question, why did it bring us in so tight before? I just want to have a look at the procedure here, and I get we're not doing it like this. Well, the procedure is to start the final descent at 2,000. ATC's asked us for 2,500. You can see our overlay. What ATC's doing with us. Direct arrival from the east, subject to ATC, established 269. Not below 2,000 or higher. I remember, you know, the same thing obviously in flight sim, right? You know, every sunrise or sunset is this massive golden sky, which obviously looks really good. It's just obviously you don't get a sky like this every single night, do you? I live right by the beach, and one day about, I wanted to say about 4 years ago, it was early in the morning, it was a summer's morning, maybe 4:30 in the morning, and I happened to be awake. I'm into my photography and the sky was like this. It was one of the very few times you'd ever catch me running, but I was running towards the beach with the camera, and yeah. No surprise, there was nobody else there. But yeah, that's how rare a sky like this is. Like, I don't know if it's perhaps a little more common elsewhere in the world, but certainly not here. We do get them, but...
Turn left.
All right, we've got an incremental turn.
Zulu Foxtrot.
But no descent. Is that right? Yeah, we're still at 2.5. So here's 300. I'm just going to be careful with the speed because... But look at what it's done. It feels like... I know I said this for the top, but it, for whatever reason, changed its mind. It feels like it's loosely copying what the approach procedure is. I mean, you can see the procedure is when we're 277 degrees, we would start this left-hand turn. You see ATC did it just a few moments before. We're more or less on a 10-mile DME. Maybe we were 11, but it just feels like it's basically copying the procedure by giving you vectors. That's what it feels like to be. Even though we are doing the visual. Getting behind the curve, I'm just adding more and more power. It really does drop off at some point. I'm not exactly sure on the speed, but with flaps 1 set, it feels like any less than 140, it really begins to just drop. Right, 280. Report the field. So let's have a look. Can we see it? Yes, we can. The lights are right. Actually, the more you zoom in, the harder it is to see. You zoom out and the lights stand right out. So let's report the field. Again, I think that's a bit of a bug. Actually, we've got 2 whites and 2 reds, but the more you zoom in, the harder it is to see that we've got 2 whites and 2 reds.
Cleared visual approach. Runway 27. Contact Norwich Tower. 124.255. Zulu Foxtrot.
Autopilot, there we go. Right, so I just disconnected the autopilot, trimming it down a bit, and now I've got to check in with the controller.
3 Zulu Foxtrot.
Listen to this.
Phenom alphabet equals PH equals N Brog greater than name Briar less than slash phone EMB 505 Phenom 300. Position 7 miles east of Norwich.
Like before it said 505 Phenom 300, it sounded like a load of codswallop. Like a load of random gibberish. I certainly didn't hear EMB or Embraer.
Runway 273 Zulu Foxtrot.
Alright. Well, gotta say, the ATC made up for itself on the last 5 minutes, it seems, but until then, the 5 minutes beforehand, it was a bit of a, well, what on earth is it doing? And for the 10 or 15 minutes before that, basically after our takeoff, it was non-existent. And I would have at least expected a climb to such and such a heading, such and such a height, and or turn such and such a heading. We had neither. Dump the gear.
3 Zulu Foxtrot. Clear to land. Runway 27. Wind 250 degrees and 6 knots. Variable 2202280. Call final.
Cleared to land. Runway 27. Will go. 3 Zulu Foxtrot.
CTL. So we are flaps 2. I'm going to land with flaps 3 instead of flaps 4. Why not? And let's call. They want us to call final, so let's do it.
Foxtrot. Final. Runway 27.
3 Zulu Foxtrot. clear to land. Runway 27, wind 250 degrees and 6 knots, variable 2202280.
Clear to land. Runway 273 Zulu.
It's weird
Foxtrot.
because obviously it goes fast, almost as fast as an airliner, but it handles like a Cessna. I have to say, you see how it's sort of every little lump and bump, it's proper.
300. Too low. Flaps.
What do you mean flaps? We set flaps 3.
100.
Whoa. Balloons a lot more than I was expecting. Yeah.
3 Zulu Foxtrot. Vacate left.
Vacate left. 3 Zulu Foxtrot.
Yeah, had a lot of ground effects, this aircraft. A lot more than I was expecting. It seemed to float all day. I was asked to vacate left, taxi light on, let's get rid of the strobes. So part of it then is to see what it does with us. So surely we would get some instructions now. Or do we have to contact? No, can't be. Just request altimeter and request weather. That's obviously doesn't apply. Contact grounds. I'll tell you what, let's cross this line. Perhaps it's waiting for us to cross this line. I don't know. There we go, it was.
Business Advanced Aviation Charlie Echo November Tango Romeo Echo via Delta and Echo.
Taxi to African Business Advanced Aviation Charlie Echo.
African
November,
Business
Tango, Romeo,
Advanced
Echo,
Aviation.
Delta, and Echo. 3 Zulu Foxtrot.
That surely can't be right. African Business. Anyway, Delta Echo. I guess we're to be over here. And looks like we want the Saxon Air Apron. Is there another one here? Could be this one. There is nothing else. This is just, yeah. So those are the only two pages. 10.9 or 10.9A. The Western Apron. See, it says Eastern Apron. If that's a separate chart, that is missing. Because look, I don't have anything else. Anyway. We are on Delta. I think this here is... I haven't really been paying attention. Was this Echo here? We're very close to it. I think this one could be Echo. I just want to see what ATC does with us, really. Yeah, here we go. Again, no idea what African Advanced Aviation or whatever it was is. But ATC, as we know, it does get pretty upset, you know, at the beginning. Just based on which way round we were facing, it was upset. So I assume had we already gone wrong, we'd have known about it. So where is it you want us to go? Guess this way. We'll soon see. I don't know if it's like there's a shutdown or if that's basically we've already heard the last transmission. I don't know. It's part of it. Let's see. The only thing we can do is a radio check or request a VFR departure. So I assume that's basically, you know, that's basically the end. I can't see any other instruction that we could get. So it's like it could be a bit of a helipad really, doesn't it? But all right, there we go. So I guess, yeah, it's kind of weird. I'll tell you what, compared to VATSIM, it's just not even close. It's just, yeah, it's unfortunate, really. All right, but I was hoping for a bit more, but it still is what it is. So let's see then. I'm gonna try shutting it down. So there's no running light. You know, your anti-collision light or your beacon, I guess. There is none of that on this aircraft. So I guess you just have the engine running with the nav lights and people use common sense. Hey, look at the moon back there. That looks pretty cool. I wonder how high the texture is. I wonder how much you can zoom in on the moon. You can actually zoom in on the moon quite somewhat. Look at that. I was not expecting that. All right, anyway. Getting detracted there. So brakes are on. Engine stop switch, I guess. Engine ignition will turn from auto to off. We'll turn the nav lights off. Dim the cabin, that's back here. Let's go ahead, open the stairs, soon as we can. And here we are. Welcome to Norwich. Phenom 300. Says it's by Embraer, so I guess it is in real life. However, we've done it with Areobask. Yeah, I gotta say, I kind of like the module. Again, it's not the most advanced one in the world, but it's pretty good. And I gotta say it, laminar research, your ATC still leaves a little to be desired. All right, I hope you enjoyed that one. And until next time, from me, wherever in the world you may be, take care. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. See you again. Bye-bye.